The sky was burning red, filled with smoke and fire. The ground shook with every distant explosion. Once this land had green trees and rivers, but now it was only ash and broken stones. The war between humans and aliens had ended, but the battlefield was still full of silence and death. Among the ruins lay an alien mother, her skin pale, her breathing weak, her eyes glowing faintly. She was wounded, her body broken, her strength fading away. In her arms was a small child, no bigger than a human baby, with silver skin and shining blue eyes. The child was crying softly, unaware that its mother was about to take her last breath. The soldiers passed by her body, their boots crushing stones and bones. To them she was just another enemy, another number in the war. No one cared, no one stopped. No one even looked, the mother whispered weakly, calling for help, but no one answered, except one, a human soldier, tired and scarred. With dirt on his face and pain in his eyes, he was not like the others. He stopped when he heard the weak sound. He looked down and saw her, an enemy holding a child. For a moment he thought of leaving. The war was over. His orders were clear. No mercy for the enemy. But something in the child's cry struck his heart. It was not the cry of an enemy. It was the cry of life, fragile and innocent. He knelt beside the alien mother. Her glowing eyes looked at him with fear and hope at the same time. She spoke in broken words, her voice trembling. "Human, please take my child." Her hand reached out, shaking. Trying to place the baby in his arms, the soldier froze. He could feel the weight of her request. To accept the child meant danger, betrayal, even death if his people found out. But he also felt something else. The dying mother was not asking for victory. She was not asking for revenge. She was asking for life, for her child to live. The child reached out its small hand and touched the soldier's finger. A spark of warmth ran through him, something he had not felt in years of war. The mother's breathing grew weaker, her body shaking, her words softer. "Promise, protect," she whispered. Her last tear fell as she pressed the baby into his arms. Then with one final breath, her eyes closed and her body went still. The soldier looked down at the child in his arms. The baby stopped crying, staring at him with those strange glowing eyes. He felt a strange bond, as if the mother's last breath had tied their lives together. Around him, the battlefield was empty. No one saw, no one cared, but he knew the choice he had made. He had accepted something that could change his fate. The wind carried the sound of distant engines. The human army was moving, searching, hunting. If they saw him with this alien child, they would call him traitor. He looked once more at the still body of the mother. Her face was calm now. As if she trusted him even in death, he stood up, holding the child close to his chest. The baby was warm, breathing softly, its small fingers clutching his uniform. The soldier whispered to himself, "I will protect you, no matter what." He turned away from the battlefield. Every step felt heavier, every sound sharper. He knew danger was waiting, he knew eyes would soon turn against him, but he also knew there was no turning back. The alien mother's last breath had given him a task, not of war but of life, not of hate but of protection, and with that child in his arms he walked into the unknown. What he did not know was that his choice would shake the future of both species. The child was not ordinary, and the secret it carried would soon bring fire upon them. The war might be over, but a new story had just begun from that moment. Both their lives changed forever. The night was dark, and the wind carried the smell of smoke. The soldier walked carefully through the ruined forest, holding the alien child close. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound felt dangerous. He knew the human patrols were searching the land, looking for survivors, looking for traitors. If they saw him with the child, they would not hesitate to kill him. The baby was quiet now, its glowing blue eyes watching him with strange calm. It did not cry. It did not fight. It only clung to his chest as if it trusted him completely. The soldier's heart felt heavy. He had carried guns and ammo his whole life, but never something so fragile. The weight of the small child was heavier than any weapon, because it carried the last breath of a mother. He found a broken shelter, once a farmhouse. Now half destroyed by fire, he stepped inside, the wood creaking under his boots. He placed the child on a soft piece of cloth, torn from his own uniform. The baby looked around, making soft sounds, its skin glowing faintly in the darkness. It was unlike anything he had seen before. Both alien and innocent, the soldier sat against the wall, his rifle beside him. His mind was full of questions. Why did he take the child? Why did he promise what would happen now? He told himself it was only for one night. Maybe tomorrow he would decide. But deep inside he already knew. He could not abandon the child. The villagers nearby whispered about strange lights in the forest. They said the aliens left curses. They said nothing good could come from saving one of them. Some even said the last survivors carried poison in their blood. The soldier knew if the villagers saw the baby, they would turn against him. Even his own friends, the men he fought beside, would not understand. Still, when he looked at the child, he felt something he had not felt in years: hope. The baby smiled for the first time, its small hands reaching for his face. He forgot for a moment the war, the killing, the endless orders. For a moment he remembered he was human, but danger never sleeps. That same night, the ground shook with a low hum. In the distance, a strange light appeared in the sky. A ship, dark and silent, moved across the stars like a shadow. It was searching, scanning the ground, its beam cutting through the trees. The soldier quickly wrapped the child in cloth and pressed it close. The baby's skin glowed brighter. Reacting to the ship's presence, he whispered, "Quiet, please." But the child could not hide its nature. The beam swept across the ruins. Closer and closer. If it touched them, they would be seen. The soldier crawled under broken stone and wood. Holding the baby tight, the beam passed over them, the air buzzing with strange energy. For a moment, he thought they were discovered. But the light moved on, the ship drifting away into the night. His heart pounded, sweat running down his face. He realized the truth. They were not safe anywhere. The aliens were looking for the child, too. When the night grew quiet again, he looked at the baby. The glowing marks on its skin faded, leaving only soft light in its eyes. The soldier understood something important. This child was not just a survivor, it was wanted, hunted. By both sides, he whispered, "I promised. I cannot let them take you." In the days that followed, he moved from place to place. Sometimes he begged for food, sometimes he stole. Always he kept the child hidden, wrapped in cloth, carried close. The child grew calmer around him, as if it knew it was safe, but whispers followed him. Villagers asked too many questions. Soldiers grew suspicious. Why did he travel alone? Why did he look nervous one night as he sat near a small fire? The child suddenly reached out a hand. A soft light appeared, warm and gentle. It healed the soldier's cut hand, closing the wound in seconds. He stared in shock, his voice breaking. "What are you?" he whispered. The baby only smiled, small teeth showing, innocent and bright. The soldier understood this was no ordinary child. This was something greater, something powerful. The mother's last breath had not only given him a task, it had given him a secret that could change the fate of both worlds. But secrets do not stay hidden for long. Already rumors spread in the villages. Already shadows moved at night, and somewhere above the clouds, another ship appeared, watching, waiting. The soldier looked at the child and whispered once more, "I will protect you, no matter what it costs." What he did not know was that his promise had already set fire to the future. And soon, both friend and enemy would come to take the child from him. The story of one soldier and one alien child was only beginning. The forest was silent, but silence did not mean safety. The soldier carried the alien child close as he moved through the shadows. Days had passed since the mother's last breath, but her voice still echoed in his mind. "Protect my child." He had promised, and he would keep that promise, even if the world turned against him. Whispers followed him wherever he went in the villages. People noticed his strange behavior. They said he spoke less and traveled with something hidden in his arms. Some claimed they saw a strange glow in the night where he rested. Fear grew, and fear always leads to suspicion. One evening, as the soldier sat by a dying fire, a man approached, a villager with sharp eyes and a greedy smile. He sat across from the soldier and whispered, "I know what you carry. It is not human, is it?" The soldier's hand moved to his weapon, but the man raised his hands. "Peace, friend. I do not wish to harm you, only to tell you the truth." The soldier's heart tightened, but he stayed silent. The villager leaned closer, his voice low. "The child you carry is not just a child. It is the heir, the last heir of their empire." The soldier's eyes widened. He had never thought beyond survival, beyond keeping the promise. But now he understood why the aliens searched so hard, why the ship scanned the skies. This child was no ordinary life, it was royal blood. The villager's smile grew colder. Do you know what this means? Whoever controls that child controls the future. You could be rich, powerful, untouchable. The soldier stood, his voice sharp. I do not want power. I only gave a promise, but deep inside, fear grew if the child was truly the heir. Then every hunter, every soldier, every empire would come for them. The baby stirred in his arms, its glowing eyes opening. It reached toward the villager, a faint shimmer running through the air. The villager stepped back quickly, his face pale. You see? Even now it carries power. You cannot hide this forever. Then he vanished into the night, leaving only the fire's smoke behind. The soldier looked down at the child. It smiled at him, innocent, unaware of the danger. But he could not forget the man's words. The heir of an empire, hunted by all. And trusted only to him, he whispered, What have I taken into my arms? The next morning, danger arrived. A squad of human soldiers entered the village, their leader's voice loud. We search for something. A traitor. A thief of war. Their boots stamped against the ground, their eyes sharp like knives. The soldier knew they were searching for him. Someone had betrayed him. Someone had told them about the child. He tried to escape quietly, but a soldier's shout rang through the air. There! Stop him! The soldier ran, clutching the baby, his heart pounding like drums, through alleys, through broken doors. Across fields of ash, the cries of men followed him, weapons ready to strike. At last he reached the forest's edge. But the soldiers closed in. He turned, holding the child in one arm and his rifle in the other. His breath came heavy, his hands shaking. He was one man against many, and yet he did not step back. The child's small hand touched his chest. Glowing softly, it was as if the baby was giving him strength. The soldiers raised their weapons. One shouted, Give it to us. That thing is not yours. Another added, It belongs to command. You will be forgiven if you hand it over. The soldier tightened his grip, his voice shook, but it was firm. No, this child belongs to no one. I promise to protect it. And I will. The soldiers hesitated. For a moment they saw not an enemy, not a traitor, but a man standing for something greater. But hesitation dies quickly in war. Their leader raised his hand, ready to give the order to fire. The soldier braced himself, his body ready to shield the baby. If he was to fall, he would fall keeping the promise. Then a strange thing happened. The child's glow grew brighter. Shining like a star, the soldiers froze, their weapons lowering slightly. Their faces pale, a voice echoed in their minds, soft and ancient, not words, but feelings, authority, command, destiny. The soldiers stepped back in fear, their leader shouting for them to stand firm. But their hands shook, their courage fading. The soldier looked down in awe. The child was calm, its eyes glowing like twin suns. It was no longer just a baby in his arms. It was the heir of a fallen empire, carrying power no human could understand. The soldiers retreated slowly, whispering to each other in fear. Monster. God, weapon. The leader cursed and pulled them back. This is not over, he shouted as they disappeared into the forest. The soldier stood alone again, the baby's glow fading to soft light. His chest rose and fell, his body trembling with relief and fear. He whispered to the child, You are more than I ever knew, but no matter who you are mine to protect. And so, the bond between human and heir grew stronger. But the path ahead was darker than ever. For now, both humans and aliens knew the truth. The child was the last heir, and the war for its future had only just begun. The soldier moved deeper into the forest. The alien child held close against his chest. The memory of the soldiers retreating still burned in his mind. Their whispers of fear, their leader's curse. He knew this was not victory. Only delay, the enemy would return stronger and angrier. The child's secret was no longer safe. And once a secret is known, the shadows begin to move. He found shelter in an abandoned cabin, half rotten, roof leaking, but walls still standing. There he laid the child on a bed of cloth, the glow of its skin faint but steady. The soldier sat near the door, his rifle across his knees. His body was tired, but his mind could not rest. Again and again, he heard the words of the villager, the heir, the last heir of their empire. He had not asked for this burden, but now it was bound to him. In the village nearby, whispers spread like wildfire. The man who once fought beside them now hid an alien child. Some called him mad, others called him traitor. Fear and greed worked together, and soon men gathered in secret corners. One of them, A man who once shared bread and fire with the soldier now spoke with sharp voice. He carries danger in his arms. If we protect him, we die. If we hand him over, we live. The soldier did not know that betrayal was already on its way. That night he was awakened by soft footsteps outside. The child stirred, sensing danger before the soldier could. He pressed the baby close and aimed his weapon at the door. A shadow slipped through the cracks of the cabin. It was not a soldier. It was someone familiar. A face he recognized, his old comrade. A man he once trusted with his life. The comrade raised his hands. His voice low. "Brother, it is me. Do not fire. I came to help." The soldier hesitated, lowering the rifle slightly. His comrade stepped closer, his eyes darting toward the child. "So it is true. You carry the enemy's heir." The soldier tensed. "You should not be here. If you know, then leave." But the comrade shook his head. "I came to warn you. The others know too. They plan to take the child tonight. Hand it over to command." The soldier's grip on the rifle tightened. "And you? Where do you stand?" The comrade sighed, his eyes heavy with sorrow. "I stand with you. For now, but you must run. They will not stop. They will come with fire and chains." The soldier wanted to believe him, wanted to trust him again, but something in his voice felt strange, too careful, too soft. Still, he nodded. "Then help me keep the promise." They moved before dawn, slipping through the woods while the village still slept. The comrade led the way. Saying he knew hidden paths, the soldier followed, child against his chest, heart beating fast. But the forest grew thicker, darker, quieter, until the soldier noticed something was wrong. The path was not leading away from danger, but toward it. Branches cracked, voices rose. From the shadows, men appeared, torches burning, weapons ready. The comrade stepped aside, his face hard. "I'm sorry, brother, but I cannot follow you into death. This is the only way." The soldier's heart broke, betrayal cut deeper than any blade. "You would sell a child for safety?" he asked, his voice raw. The comrade looked away. "I would sell anything to survive." The men closed in, their torches casting long flames against the trees. The soldier held the baby tighter, the glow in its eyes growing brighter with fear. He raised his rifle, but he knew he could not fight them all. The comrade spoke again, his words heavy with shame. "Give it to us, and live or resist, and die tonight." The forest trembled as if holding its breath. The soldier stood tall, his body shielding the child. His voice was quiet, but it cut through the fire and noise. "I made a promise, and I will keep it. Even if it costs my life." The men surged forward, but before steel could strike, the child screamed. It was not the cry of a baby, but a sound like thunder. Light burst from its body, throwing the men back, their torches falling, flames dying in the dirt. The comrade fell to his knees, hands over his face, shouting in fear. "What is it? What have you carried?" The soldier did not answer. He lifted the glowing child high, its light shining like a star through the forest. The men fled, stumbling, their whispers of demon and God fading into the night. Only the comrade remained, shaking, eyes wide with terror and regret. The soldier looked at him one last time. "You chose your path, and I chose mine." Then he turned and walked into the deeper shadows of the forest, the child's glow slowly fading to soft light again. The betrayal had cut him, but it had also made him stronger. Now he understood the truth. The world would never stop hunting them, and the only way forward was through fire and danger. The alien mother's last breath still guided him, her whisper alive in his memory. Protect the child no matter the cost. And so he walked alone again, but not broken, because with every step, he knew his promise had become more than duty. It had become destiny. The forest no longer felt like shelter, it felt like a trap. The soldier carried the alien child close, his eyes scanning every shadow. The betrayal of his comrade still cut deep, but there was no time for grief. The men who fled into the night would return with more. They would not stop until the child was taken. The soldier walked without rest, moving through rivers, climbing over stones, hiding under roots. The child was calm, but its faint glow made hiding harder. Every flicker of blue light in the dark was a signal. Every strange sound in the night made the soldier grip his weapon tighter. At dawn, smoke rose in the distance. Not from villages, not from cooking fires. It was the black smoke of machines. He knew what it meant. Hunters were coming, not just men with torches, But machines, drones, and armored squads. The soldier pressed forward, his body aching but his will unbroken. He reached a wide clearing, the sun weak above him. He thought it safe for a moment. But then the ground shook with a metallic hum. From the sky descended dark shapes. Ships like iron hawks, their engines roared. Their weapons glowed red. The hunters had arrived. The soldier ran, carrying the child in his arms. Beams of light cut through the trees, burning branches to ash. Explosions shook the earth, sending dirt flying. The soldier's breath came fast, but he did not stop. Every step was survival. Every heartbeat a fight. The child pressed its small hands to his chest, glowing brighter as if trying to shield him. For a moment, the blast curved away. Missing their mark, the soldier felt it, the child's strange power bending the world around them. But each use of power made the baby weaker. He could not let it burn out through smoke and fire. The soldier reached a narrow gorge. A broken bridge stretched across, half collapsed. Swinging dangerously behind him, the hunters closed in, their voices shouting orders. He had no choice. He stepped onto the broken bridge, the wood groaning under his weight. The child clung to him, silent, its eyes wide with fear. Halfway across, the hunters opened fire. The bridge shook as beams cut through the ropes. The soldier ran, leaping across the last broken plank. The bridge collapsed behind him, crashing into the river below. The hunters cursed, their machines pulling back. For now he had escaped. But the relief was short. Ahead lay steep cliffs. Jagged and merciless, the soldier climbed, his muscles screaming with pain. Every stone cut his hands. Every step was a battle. He slipped once, dangling with the child in one arm. But he pulled himself up, refusing to let go. At the top, he found no safety. A squad of hunters waited, their armor black, their weapons raised. They had circled ahead. The leader stepped forward, voice cold. "Give us the child, human. You cannot run forever." The soldier stood tall. Though his body was weak, he raised his rifle, the child in his other arm. His voice was steady. "Then I will fight until I cannot breathe." The hunters laughed, weapons ready, but before they could fire, the child's glow burst again. This time it was brighter, sharper, like fire and lightning together. The hunters staggered back, shielding their eyes. The ground shook, the air cracked. The soldier felt heat wash over him. Not from weapons, but from the child. The baby's small voice echoed. Not in words, but in sound, a cry that split the sky. The machines around them flickered, their engines failing, their weapons turning cold. The hunters fell back in fear, their leader shouting to regroup. The soldier held the child, feeling its body weaken in his arms. The power was too much, too dangerous, he whispered. "Stop, little one. You'll burn yourself away." The glow dimmed. The child fell quiet, its breath soft but shallow. The soldier's heart broke as he looked at the baby's pale face. It had saved him again, but at a terrible cost. He knelt on the cliff, tears stinging his eyes. "I promised your mother, and I will not fail," but danger was not finished. The hunters regrouped, their voices loud, their steps heavy, and worse, from above came a shadow larger than all others. A massive ship, black as night, lowering toward the cliff. Its engines roared, its lights blinding. The air filled with heat and dust. The soldier stood, holding the weakened child close. He had no more strength, no more places to run. But still he would not surrender. The cliff shook under the ship's weight. Stones breaking, the soldier's boots slipped. The edge crumbled, and then he fell. Down into the abyss, the world turned to silence. Only the rush of air and the pounding of his heart remained. He wrapped his body around the child, shielding it from the rocks below. The last thing he saw was the burning sky, and then there was only darkness. The fall should have killed him. The cliff was high, the rocks sharp, the river below wild and merciless. Yet when the soldier opened his eyes, he was alive. His body lay on wet stone, his head aching, but his heart still beating. And in his arms the alien child was breathing softly, glowing faintly, untouched by the fall. The soldier sat up slowly, his body trembling with pain. The memory of falling returned in flashes, wind rushing, stones breaking, the sky spinning. He had wrapped himself around the child, ready to die so it could live, but something had saved them. The child's glow was brighter during the fall, brighter than ever before. "It was not luck, it was power," the soldier whispered, his voice hoarse. "You saved us, again." The child's glowing eyes opened, calm, too calm for one so small. It reached its hand to his cheek, a soft warmth flowing into his skin. The pain in his chest faded, the bleeding in his arm stopped. The child's touch healed him. For a long moment the soldier could only stare. He had seen wounds heal on the battlefield, but never like this. This was not a trick of medicine or bandages. This was something beyond human understanding. The child was no longer just fragile life. It was awakening. The river roared beside them, carrying broken branches and foam above. The massive ship still hovered, its engines shaking the air. But the hunters had not seen where they had fallen. The soldier used the chance to crawl into a cave hidden near the water. Inside it was dark and wet, but it offered cover. There, he laid the child down on dry stone. The baby's glow flickered like a candle. And then, without warning, its voice filled the cave. Not the cry of a child, but words broken but clear. Mother. Safe. Protect. The soldier froze, his eyes wide. The child was speaking, its first words, but not in any language he had been taught. Yet he understood them, not with his ears, but with his heart. Visions struck him, not dreams, not illusions. He saw the alien mother again, her glowing eyes full of sorrow, her hand reaching out, her voice whispering. He saw a city of light, tall towers rising into the sky, a world not human. He saw fire and war, destruction falling from the heavens, and he saw himself standing with the child, at the center of something greater than war. The soldier gasped, pulling away, his hand shaking. What are you showing me? What are you? The child only looked at him, calm and silent now, but deep inside he knew the truth. The mother had chosen him not by chance. She had seen something, trusted humanity with something more than survival. This child was not only an heir of blood, but an heir of destiny. Outside, voices grew louder. Hunters moved along the riverbank, searching the rocks. Their lights cut through the night. Their machines scanned the ground. The soldier held the child close again, whispering, "They will find us soon." "I have no more places to run." The child stirred, its body glowing brighter. The cave lit with silver light, stones shimmering, water sparkling like stars. Then the child's voice came again, stronger this time. "Not run. Fight. Together." The soldier felt his chest tighten. This was no ordinary baby, no helpless life. It had chosen him as much as he had chosen it. The glow grew into a beam of light that pierced the cave ceiling. It shot into the sky, bright and unbroken. The hunters outside stopped, their shouts echoing. "There! The signal! We found it!" The massive ship above turned, engines roaring louder. The soldier's heart sank. The child's power had revealed them. He looked down at the glowing face. Why would you call them here?" But the child's eyes held no fear, only certainty, because sometimes hiding was no longer enough. The time to face destiny had come. The ground shook as the ship lowered. Hunters filled the riverbank, their weapons ready. The soldier stood at the cave mouth, child in one arm, rifle in the other. He knew he could not fight an army, but he also knew he would never hand the child over, not while he still breathed. The baby pressed its small hand to his chest again. Vision struck him once more, a future where war ended, a future where one human and one alien child changed the stars. He staggered back, overwhelmed, but he understood. The mother's last breath had not only asked for protection, it had asked for trust. The soldiers stepped out into the open, the beam of light still cutting through the sky. Hunters raised their weapons, their leader shouting, "Surrender the air, now!" The soldier's voice carried through the roar of engines. "No! This child is not yours, and it will never be." The hunters prepared to fire. The ship's weapons glowed, and the soldier stood firm, holding the glowing air against his heart. The child's eyes blazed, silver fire spilling into the night. The air cracked, the river boiled, the earth shook, and the battle for destiny was about to begin. The night sky burned with light. The soldier stood on the riverbank, the alien child glowing in his arms above them. The massive ship hovered like a black mountain, its engines roaring, its weapons charged. Around them, hunters closed in, their armor shining red, their weapons steady. The air shook with the sound of war waiting to be unleashed. The soldier's body ached, his strength nearly gone, but his spirit held firm. He had walked through fire, betrayal, and endless pursuit. He had carried the last breath of a dying mother and turned it into a promise. Now he stood at the edge of that promise, ready to give everything to keep it. The hunter's leader raised his hand, his voice cold and sharp. "Humans, surrender the air. This is your last chance." The soldier tightened his grip on the child. His answer came like steel. "No. This child chose me, and I chose to protect." The hunters fired. beams of burning light cutting through the air. The soldier leapt behind broken stone, shielding the baby with his body. Explosions shook the riverbank, smoke rising like black clouds. But when the fire cleared, he still stood. The child's glow wrapped around him like armor. Protecting them both, the hunters staggered, whispering in fear, "This is not possible. No human should survive this." But the soldier was no ordinary man now. He was bound to something greater. Every beat of his heart carried the strength of his promise, and every cry of the child carried the power of a fallen empire. The ship above began to descend, its shadow covering the land. A voice echoed from its speakers, deep and commanding, "Return the air, or all will burn." The soldier lifted his head, his face lit by the child's glow. "Then burn me first." "Because you will never take the child." The ground cracked as soldiers advanced. But before they could strike, the child raised its small hand. A wave of silver light spread out like ripples in water. Weapons fell from hands, machines shut down. Engines roared and then died. The hunters froze, their eyes wide with terror. Some fell to their knees, unable to resist the weight of the power pressing against their souls. The soldier looked down at the child in awe. Its eyes blazed brighter than stars, its voice soft but clear. "Not enemy, not weapon, future." The words echoed across the battlefield. Reaching every heart, the hunters stepped back, their fear turning into silence. Even the great ship above paused, its weapons dimming, its engines lowering to a hum. The soldier held the child high, his voice carrying over the roar of the river. "This is not your air. This is not your weapon. This is life." And it chose humanity. The silence grew heavy, the hunters unsure, the ship waiting. Then slowly, one by one, the hunters dropped to their knees, not in defeat but in recognition. They bowed to the child, to the light it carried. The leader of the hunters fought against it, his face twisted with rage. "No, the air belongs to the Empire. It belongs to us." He raised his weapon, aiming at the child, but before he could fire, the glow from the child flared like the sun. The leader was thrown back, his weapon shattering. His body falling into the river, the water swallowed him. His screams fading into the dark. The ship above lowered slowly, its weapons now silent. A ramp opened, and figures stepped out, tall and robed, their eyes glowing like the child's. They were not hunters, but guardians, the last keepers of the alien empire. They looked at the soldier, their voices calm and heavy with ancient power. "You were chosen, and you did not fail. The air has spoken." The soldier fell to his knees, exhausted, tears stinging his eyes. "I only kept a promise. Nothing more." The child reached to his face, touching his tears, its small voice whispered, "Not nothing. Everything." The guardians bowed their heads. The child chose humanity, and so humanity shall share its destiny. The soldier did not understand the full meaning, but he felt it deep in his heart. The war was ending, not by fire or blood, but by the bond between him and the child. The sky cleared, the smoke fading. The hunters laid down their arms, their voices quiet. The ship's engines dimmed until the night was still again. The soldier stood, the child in his arms, both of them shining with the light of survival and hope. The alien mother's whisper returned to him one last time. "Protect my child, and change the stars." He closed his eyes, whispering back, "I did. And I will, always." And so the story of one soldier and one alien child did not end with war. It began with trust, it grew through sacrifice, and it became the bridge between two worlds. The last breath of a mother, the promise of a human, the awakening of a child. Together they became the future.